Anyway, you're talking about the courthouse steps.
Oh, how my dad got killed?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's, town is the county seat because it was the largest town in the county. And the population was 2,500. My dad was a lawyer, and he was serving the end of his second term as a prosecuting attorney, which they call a district attorney in some parts of the country. And the other counties didn't have a very big population either, so his district was 4 or 5 counties big, the district attorney. The southwestern corner of Arkansas, just north of Texarkana. He had 3 months left on his term. We were milking one evening. My mom got a phone call from the sheriff. She came down to the barn and got my dad, brought him to the house. And my sheriff talked him into coming to the courthouse because this guy, the sheriff had arrested this guy who everybody in town knew was crazy but thought was harmless, because the guy had come to town with a shotgun threatening to kill everybody that was in an elected or appointed office of either the county or the township because of a lawsuit that the courts had found not in his favor. Everybody knew he was crazy. What he'd done is that he decided that the border between his house, his land, and his neighbor's land was in the wrong place, and so he moved the fence over about 25 or 30 feet. Just did it because he thought the boundary was in the wrong place. Well, the neighbor sued him, took him to court, and of course he lost because the records going back a couple of 100 years showed that it was in the right place. The boundary was in the right place. But my dad was the prosecuting attorney, and he had the job of prosecuting the case against the guy who moved the fence in order for the other guy to get his land back. And of course they won hands down. There was no, he had no case against the guy because he'd done wrong. Well, he thought that my dad hated him, and anyway, he thought everybody was against him, and he came to town one day with a shotgun threatening to kill every elected and appointed county and city official. And the sheriff, who was a good old boy, and also the tax collector, he was a lot better tax collector than the sheriff. His gun was always dirty and rusty. I don't think it ever came out of the case. His holster, after he got elected sheriff, I don't think he ever fired it. Ever. But he sure enjoyed being sheriff. And everybody loved him. He was elected by landslide. He came down to town and talked the guy out of his shotgun. The town jeweler was also the town mayor, and that's where he found him. And he came in and talked the guy out of his shotgun and talked him into coming down and being booked and put in jail. And once he was booked, he brought him out of the sheriff's office and was on his way to the jail, which was on the corner of the courthouse square. And the guy stopped and said, "No, I want to speak to Corporal Thomas. I want to speak to Corporal Thomas." The sheriff said, "All right, all right." So he went back in and called my mom at the house. My mom came down to the barn where we were milking, got my dad come to the phone. The sheriff talked my dad into going down in the middle of milking, in his milking clothes, and to see what the hell was going on. But when he got there, and found out what was going on, he said, "Look, take the guy to jail. My goodness, what the heck?" we'll have a hearing and get it all sorted out. What the hell? And turned around to leave, and the guy reached down in his boot and pulled out a pistol that the sheriff had missed. And the first 2 shots caught my dad in the heart, and the other 4 shots went wild, thank goodness, because every county and elected official was standing around. And after his gun was empty, the sheriff finally subdued the guy and got him and put him in jail. The deputy sheriff, in the meantime, and somebody else, had grabbed my dad and taken him across the street to the hospital, which was just catty-corner across the street from the courthouse. But by the time they got there, he'd already bled to death. So that's the story of my dad. Well, the guy that killed him was found not mentally fit for trial, so they put him in an insane asylum where he promptly killed 2 more inmates. And then about 2 weeks later, a fellow inmate beat him to death with a chair.
So that's what happened with him.
So that's what happened to him.
And he was related.
And I was bitterly disappointed because I was bound and determined. As soon as first thing I did when I graduated from high school was go kill Spence Furlow.
You were 12 at the time that
Yeah.
he died and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. But wasn't he, the guy that killed your dad, sort of related to other people in the town or
Oh, yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
And the rest of them were like all good friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was sort of weird, later to
Yeah,
interact with the same family and everything.
yeah. Oh, it mortified the family.
Yeah.
The family's probably never recovered from it.
Yeah.
Because my dad was born and raised in the house I was raised in. Went all through school with everybody in town, a small town of 2,500. Everybody knew everybody else.